Welcome back to the Maximum Lawyer podcast. Easy for me to say. I'm back with one of the OGs, Seth Price. What's going on, buddy?
Good to be here. Great to see you.
It's good to see you, man. So, hey, your topic is, I think, for me and Jim, like one of the ones that we're most excited about. And I'm not just saying that, I mean it. It's how it started, how it's going on scaling a law firm, lessons learned. So I actually think that this was Jim's idea to come up with the topic. But I guess, what are your thoughts on the topic?
You know, COVID has been a pretty humbling experience. There was a lot of cool stuff going on. We saw growth. We saw like crazy things happening. And that all of a sudden, that train that we were on, a lot of stuff, wasn't the same stuff so a lot of good stuff, a lot of opportunities for talent around the country, around the world, but it really made us reflect. So, we started as this criminal boutique. We expanded into a bunch of different areas, and we've contracted some during COVID, trying to do less well, and then saw where things were performing. Like in South Carolina, we started with a listener of Max Law, Dane Phillips, who did. Now we got a 3-person and growing division there. So I think what we did is we used the COVID time to sort of prune some of the areas that were less scalable and less exciting, and try to put our emphasis and energies into those areas that are, and things that sort of like, as you go along, things that you guys saw when we were all in the office, intake jamming along. It's had some real cracks during COVID. The good news is I lost drama, but really a lot of, it was harder to keep and retain culture, and people hired during culture. That loyalty just wasn't there. And timing is good. Stuff that Jay and I have talked a lot about on Max Growth Live, experimenting with overseas labor, and layering that with domestic labor to try to get the best of both worlds.
So it's interesting because you're someone that's been doing this for a while. So how many years now have you had the firm?
It depends. It's a really good question. Should be an obvious question. We'll use 12 as a number. It could be as high as 15. We don't really. There was sort of a ramp up period before we launched, and about 12 years ago we started scaling it.
So I'm gonna say 15 because you still had lessons learned over those 15 years. So give me one, I don't want a bunch of them, just give me one lesson that you learned in those 15 years leading up to the pandemic. So the 14 years leading up to the pandemic.
One is getting your bookkeeping and accounting in order. Neither, Dave or I are experts in that. And we have found that really hard to scale, and the expert advice you bring in comes with, it's an unusual group of people giving you that advice, and that we've had a lot of setbacks in that space. I think it's that every time I think that I have intake down, I am humbled, and it is a constant. There is no set it and forget it combination of natural turnover combined with people's ebbs and flows, combined with a whole bunch of different factors that's there. And that at the end of the day, that the marketing drives everything. If you have the cases, you'll have the talent, you can cash flow it. And that, that's why I've always put marketing as such a number one priority, which is if the phone's ringing, everything's great. And you can hide a lot of the issues that you're dealing with. Whereas if the phones are not, you start focusing on everything. And that's part of what happened during COVID. Things, if the courts were shut down, if people stopped going outside and weren't getting arrested, weren't getting injured, we started to say, oh, wow, these things aren't, we're making money despite certain things, not because of them.
You sound just like James Oliver Hacking III for sure. He's all about the marketing, and you're absolutely right. That being said, though, having gone through COVID now, do you feel like the firm is better off or worse off?
Complicated question. In some respects, we've gotten leaner, and we are firing on all cylinders. But if I could trade it back magically, we were humming pre, and there's a lot of uncertainty. The courts aren't fully open. In the major metros, people are not living life the way they were. Will it go back? At some point it will, but go back to those early Max Growth Live shows. We were thinking 4 months and we'd be back to normal, Do we have cat? And it turned out it wasn't as devastating, and PPP was an amazing thing for small business. But this has certainly been an upheaval. So I'd like to say we've improved certain things, but I don't, like, it's frustrating because you see what could have been, and I'm not harping on it. But it certainly was a setback, and you learn a lot about yourself and who's on your team.
We'll go a little bit long here because I do want to ask you about BluShark too, and I want to mention just because I think BluShark it's amazing. Like, how was that affected during the pandemic? Because I think it's important that people realize, because this is connected with your speaker's topic for MaxLawCon, is you scaled a firm while also scaling a business, right? And so, how is that affected during? Because I feel like BluShark, like 2020, was like one of those years where I think BluShark was really going to take off. And I guess, how was that affected?
Believe it or not, I was expecting the firm to be fine and BluShark was really going to be hurt. BluShark really wasn't. The need for marketing has gone up. Paid search has become so expensive. And I think what the thing that's happened is people are looking at organic search as, hey, it used to be free. Now it's, hey, can I get a better ROI from organic? It may not be 100 cases a month, but if paid search for $10,000 is only giving me, 4 PI cases, can I take $10,000 and generate 15 organically? I'm just saying, like, the expectation change. So we've had a really good run. The brand has resonated. Like anything else, I feel like we've had high quality. Going virtual hasn't been as detrimental. I think that in general, the thing that this is for everybody is that the cracks, I think, are starting to show, particularly with warm weather, and that, some people, they don't want to come back to the office, some do, and that sort of dynamic is sort of the next piece. But BluShark itself, I feel very blessed that we've been able to help people out, and in most instances, be able to sort of help people navigate these pretty treacherous waters that are going on right now.
For sure, for sure. All right, 2 questions left. If people want to reach out to you, whether it's about BluShark, about the business, whatever it might be, how do they get in touch with you?
Look, I'm everywhere. If anybody in this group, just hit me through Facebook Messenger. I geek out on this. Don't feel, I get calls all the time. Hey, Joey Vitale, I need to get this set up. I want to pay. No, just like, hey, go get a postcard. Like, meaning his answer was very simple, but sometimes if I can help you with a threshold question, happy to. If there's something more, we'll gladly talk more. But a lot of times people are hung up on something really small. So feel free to ping me through Messenger or email, whatever works.
You're at the first conference. You're at the second conference. What are you looking forward to when it comes to the third conference?
Look, there is something that you guys have created. Jim, have put something together where there's like the sort of ability to work with people that are building and growing together and thinking outside the box. That's what I look forward to, is like, it's the concepts and ideas that people, because a lot of people here are just starting out, and it's easy to say, hey, your firm's been around for a while, but it's those ideas that implemented at any firm are going to take you to the next level. And they're coming without the baggage. I have a bunch of baggage and issues and HR things. And these guys are just like, hey, can I get some sort of communication between these softwares that's going to revolutionize my efficiency? Can I take stuff offshore that a legacy firm doesn't generally do? And I feel that this conference is great because the ideas shared both from the stage as well as from drinks are, I think, at a level that generally doesn't exist in the legal community.
No question, no question. All right, brother. Thanks for coming on, man. We will see you soon.
Looking forward to it.
See you, dude.